It's the Church of Jesus Christ.
Now, Jack, you use the term psychosis, and you claim that America has collectively lost its mind. Could you expound upon that?
Yeah, psychosis is thought of as a medical term, but the way that I did it in this book is I defined it as where you've got organic and inorganic psychosis. And organic is something that you would think of as being natural. It just happens to the random individual where they're detached. But this one is planned and it's been implemented very strategically. And it arises from what I call a pathological ideology. And it basically arose, and of course I think there's an evil subtext to this all of this. But it all originates from what I call a pathological ideology, and that takes us back to the 1800s with Karl Marx. And he was one of the most evil men ever. He was a total reprobate, a drunk. He lived off of everybody else's money. And when you take a look at the Communist Manifesto or Das Kapital, all it was, these were ways that he could justify his decrepit life. But that was a virus that spread throughout the world. And it's infected us, and it's infected our teaching. We've allowed our children to be taught by Marxist professors and teachers, and some of them don't even know what that is. They don't even know what they're doing. And so we have about 50% of the youth today thinking that, well, communism might be just okay. Well, no, because the subtext and the core, one of the core elements of communism is atheism. And atheism is a psychosis in and of itself. That's a detachment from reality.
One of the chapters is titled The Political and Social Redlining of America. What do you mean when you talk about redlining?
Yeah, well, redlining, I guess it was back in the 80s or the 90s, is where it had more of a racial connotation because the banks were not wanting to loan money in certain areas, and it had more to do with ethnicity. And so they were denying loans to people because of where they lived. And so that was, Congress addressed that and outlawed that. And we thought that we had dealt with the redlining, but it's raised its ugly head again because now conservatives and Christians and Republicans are being redlined out of society. And there's been this nasty little convergence in not a conspiracy, but a collaboration between government and big tech and big corporations, where you won't get the services that you deserve if you don't think right. And technology is so savvy today that they know your predilections. They know how you're going to vote. They know how you think by what you buy or what you've done on the internet. And so that's what redlining is all about, is that you're being canceled, you're being censored, you're being shut down, you're being kept from going into certain places, buying certain things. We saw that back during COVID in a really stark way. And so that's what social redlining is, and that's what redlining has turned into today. It's the suppression of any thought that is different from a leftist Marxist viewpoint, because they all control the media, technology, the big tech, and government.
We're seeing this Marxist idea of DEI being pushed, but in the book you talk about DEI in relation to big tech. Expand on what you mean when you talk about that.
Well, big tech and DEI are a deadly combination because, first of all, DEI is nothing more than racism. And I say to a lot of people, I said, well, do you want a DEI pick to fly your plane at 500 miles an hour at 37,000 feet? I don't think so. Or do you want a DEI surgeon to operate on your neck or anywhere on your body? I said, if you do, good luck on a good recovery, if you even get off the table. I mean, there are hierarchies in the world and in life, and those are good things. But what the left wants to do is nullify any differences. That serves their purpose of staying in power. So, and then also big tech, well, basically, who are the ones doing the programming? It's like with artificial intelligence. Who's programming artificial intelligence? Well, they are the people that are teaching AI to lie. They are the same people that out in Silicon Valley, out in Washington State, all these people who are writing all these programs, they are cleansing our history. They're rewriting our history. If you go to do a research on anything, good luck on finding the real truth. That's why I tell everybody you need to keep your books, because when you go to research today, you're going to really, really have to dig because they're rewriting history.
One of the chapters is titled Sin Becomes Gender. What do you mean by that?
What the left is doing is they're trying to inoculate all that they want to do. And so they want to inoculate the potential consequences, legal potential consequences of sexual aberrations and so forth and sexual expression by making it a gender. Well, if it's a gender, then you were born with it. And if you were born with it, then you can't criticize it. And there is some pushback on that. Some people are waking up. But I wanted to get that in there. I knew it was going to be pretty controversial because it was really hitting at the core of this particular segment, political segment of society, because this is what they're doing. And it's really destroying society. It's messing up our children, and we really need to address that, but in a more passionate and forceful way than what we're doing.
Along with all these issues that we've discussed, we've seen the church become weaker and weaker, and pastors just not standing for biblical truth anymore.
Yeah, I liked R.C. Sproul's response to a question as to what's the problem in the church. And he says it's men in the church that are looking over their shoulder for the approval of men. And there are too many men in there at the pulpit. As he also said in another interview, he says, I doubt that there's 5% of the people up there in the pulpit that are qualified to be there. And it's pretty scary. And too many of them are afraid to really be blunt and speak the truth. The truth is unpopular. The truth is offensive. Thank goodness for that. And if you can't speak the truth boldly and loudly, you don't belong up there. And I saw a lack of that. And so with all the craziness going on in the country, how many people from the pulpit are really addressing what is purely evil? And they're not doing it. Now, they can preach from Scripture about all the evil 2,000 years ago, but they won't preach to you what's evil currently. Evil just didn't stop 2,000 years ago. It's here and now, bigger and badder than ever. And it's right in your face. And how can you stand in the pulpit and not give application of Scripture to what's happening currently and contemporarily? And that's what's happening. And so that's the complicity of the church.
Jack, how can we as a nation overcome this psychosis and regain our own reality?
Well, first of all, I think one of the best cures that you can have, following up on what I said, is that question everything. Dig for the truth, know the truth. The truth isn't going to lay on the ground, and if it were, man would find a way to bury it. So know the truth, but not only know it, but live it. You need to be involved in your community. You need to basically be skeptic. That's another big thing, is regain your natural skepticism, which has been taught out of us. We need to get involved in local government, and particularly your state legislators, because they are very attuned to what their constituency wants. And basically get back to church. So those are the basic things, but also, going back to the question everything, you do have to question everything. The lies just prevail. They're the kings and queens of the world. And you have to really dig for the truth. It's like the roots of a tree. You don't see them until you dig for them. But the lies proliferate like the weeds. And we have to be aware of that. And so that's what I want to do, is wake people up to the danger, because people have no idea how far we're gone. and they have no idea what the consequences are going to be. And once the power is permanently in the hands of the wrong side, it's going to be devastating. Think about this. In the last 100 years, 120 million people have been murdered and exterminated by Marxism, and 2 billion enslaved. And right now we are on the precipice of worldwide totalitarianism because it serves the interest of a handful of people. And they don't care about you, they only care about themselves. And so I want people to live free lives. I want them to live and prosper, but you can't prosper without the truth. You really have to dig for it today. So you need to wake up as to what's going on. Be a skeptic, question everything, because you're not going to get any truth out of the government. You're not going to get any truth out of the media. So you better wake up and to save your life.
Jack, thank you for being here. Thank you for writing this book and putting in all the hard work to do all the research to write this book. The book is called America's Systemic Psychosis. Jack L. Richardson, thank you so much.
Thank you, David. Thank you very much.